Today we are looking at values. So last lesson you were developing skills to help you solve conflict, and this lesson you are looking at different values and how they fit into human rights. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a look at these words on the board. They're all jumbled up and I want you to come up with a definition of values using those words. You can work together, that is completely fine, but I want you to write it down. Okay? Off you go.
It is right, like maybe the equal bit is with the values go. It's just like values.
And what is it? Could be like what is right about.
But then, like James said, the capital I.
Yeah, that's because it's
At the start, it starts with beliefs.
What? Does anyone have any idea about this? Evie.
Beliefs about what is right, wrong, and important in life.
Perfect. So, values then are beliefs about what is right and wrong and what is important in life. So today then, we're going to examine the impact that personal values and shared values can have on us, on our communities, where we live and our country. Because remember, we all have different values. We may have different individual values, we have values as a school, we have values as a community, so in Pontypool, and then if we look wider, we also have values in Wales, and then we have British values. So we have loads of different values that could change depending on your community and where you're from, your school, etc. So, what values then would you expect to see in your friends, or do you think your friends would expect to see in you? Grace.
Well, could you say that you'd like them to share like loyalty?
So your friends need to be loyal. Anything else?
to be supportive of your differences.
Yeah, so you could say supportive. We could also say respectful of our differences as well, couldn't we? So you could put respectful.
Kind and caring.
Kind, perfect.
Trustworthy.
Perfect, you could say trustworthy.
So you can rely on them?
Yes, we could say someone who's reliable. So, do we think then, these values you see in your friends then, and you've listed all these stuff, what values do you think your teachers may expect to see in you?
Well, teachers obviously respect. Teachers want respect from their pupils.
Perfect, so respectful is one.
Would maybe like reliable want to be one, because like they expect you to be reliable and like show up on time and like bring your work in, that kind of things.
Perfect, yeah, so reliable would also be one. We expect you to be on time, we expect you to have correct equipment and things like that. Perfect. Tom, did you have another one?
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's not on there, considerate.
Perfect. Why is that, Tom?
If you're just like making trouble in classes and like not being like respectful of the teacher, it's just being inconsiderate, and the teachers want you to be considerate.
Perfect, well done. So, what I would like you to do now, and you can work as a group, that is completely fine. You can work in threes, you can work in pairs, I don't mind. But I want you to look at these values on the board, and I want you to decide which ones you think are the most desirable. You've got to be prepared to tell me why.
Yeah, so if you're being loyal with someone, it means that you don't go away from them. So if someone needs your help, you're loyal to them, you'll help them.
Everyone has a right to free
Although
speech.
the thing is, it's free speech, but it's free speech if it doesn't it doesn't discriminate or take away someone's rights.
What if you're imposing your view on others through free speech?
I think that's just all speech,
Sort of
really, isn't
pushing
it?
your view.
I mean, most things people say are pushing something on someone.
Yeah. Obviously
A lot of the things I say are
majority is.
very
Controversial.
controversial.
If they push it to express their views as long as it doesn't hurt others.
Yeah, perfect, interesting. Well done. Can someone tell me one value then, they think is desirable?
Accepting, because if they don't accept you for like characteristics of yours, there's not going to be any relationship or friendship to build on. But if they show acceptance towards you, you can build off that.
Okay, can someone give me another value then they thought was desirable?
So I said democratic, because I don't think I would want people like making my decisions for me without me at least having like somewhat of a say in it. Like, yes, in government, because obviously we want a say in what happens to our country, but also just like in a friend or a relationship, because it's like especially like a friend group. You don't want one person making all of the decisions for everyone without them having some sort of say in it.
How does it make you feel then, the fact that you're under 18 and you can't vote?
Well, like, I'm not super happy about it, but I understand it though, because it's like I don't pay, like, for example, for taxes, so I shouldn't get to decide how many taxes people should pay.
Interesting.
Like that kind of thing. It's like I understand why I don't, but I would prefer to be able to vote.
Well done. Can anyone tell me one that they didn't think was that desirable?
I had unbiased.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like people are naturally biased, and it'll be quite hard to find someone who isn't naturally biased anyway. So I just don't really look. Like, people don't really look for it that much in people.
Do you think maybe your friends could look at something in an unbiased way if you gave them?
It depends. It depends on what they're looking at, to be honest. They can have bias about many different things.
Interesting. Any other ones that we didn't think were that desirable on the board?
Community orientated, because like I won't go about looking for someone. Like, of course you live in your community, you'll care about people around you, but I'm not like if you go litter picking every weekend to help the community, it doesn't bother me if you don't. Like, it doesn't really change the person, because people, like your friends, may be in a community, but they may not like the community. But that still doesn't make them any less of a friend, no matter what. Even
if they're not community orientated. So could we argue then that the school is a community, not everyone needs to be community orientated in school?
Well, of course, everyone has to like comply to the school rules because of the school rules, and everyone has to try and get along with each other. But it's never going to happen. No one's ever going to get along with everyone. People will always have differences and arguments with each other. It's just natural for everyone.
So we're going to watch a video clip now of primary schools discussing what values, or primary school students even, discussing what values they think are important and relating it to the human rights that you have, or the human rights of a child.
Guys, just 1 minute. All right, that's it.
So we're going to have a little talk about how we can all get on together. What are our values, eh?
Yeah, great idea. Come on. Anyone?
We should
Let him speak.
respect people's personal space.
Good, Alex. Privacy, right? Because people shouldn't just be able to go through your stuff whenever they want to. Yeah.
You can't be cruel to people, especially not just because they're a bit different to you.
Exactly. So that's no cruelty and equal treatment. Guys, it's important to think about how you'd like to be treated by others. Okay? Yeah.
And we shouldn't always be accusing people and jumping to conclusions without knowing the facts.
Very good. This class is better than that. Right? We're all innocent until proven guilty. Guys, how would you like it if you were punished for something that you didn't do? Would you like it?
No, sir.
Would you?
No, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
There's no point talking about all these values if we don't stick to them.
Yes, it's a very good point, Emma.
If these are the values we expect in our classrooms, why not in our country? Find out more about our Human Rights Act at commonvalues.org.uk.
So now that you've watched this video, I want you, using the post-it notes on your desk, to write down 3 examples of ways values can have a positive effect on society. You could even say how it has a positive effect on the school, if you sort of want to zone in on a closer area, or you could use Wales as a whole, or just Pontypool. It is completely up to you. You can work together again, but can you make sure your names are on the post-it notes? And then once you've done that, can you come and stick your post-it note on the board for me, please? These values have a positive effect. Well, think about it. How would it make people feel if everyone shared values such as kindness or loyalty? As soon as you're done, come and stick your post-it note up. Nina then wrote, kindness makes a person feel good about themselves and encourages others to be kind.
Well, if someone's kind to you, it'll make you feel like good. So it'll encourage you to be good to others around you.
Yeah, so it makes people feel good when others are kind to them. And so in that way, you would then want to be kind back because you know how it feels. So you sort of reciprocate that kindness. Perfect, well done. Hallam put, being lawful makes everyone feel safer and more protected in their community.
If everyone's lawful, it makes you feel like so you're not gonna sort of be attacked or anything like that. So it makes you feel safer and more protected in your society or in your area.
Lucy put then that free speech, everyone gets to voice their own opinions, so everyone is free to be who they are.
If everyone can voice their opinions, then you might start to accept everyone else because you might see their point of view.
Yeah, so it would make you more open to other people's point of views.
Yeah.
When we make decisions, or we use our values to make certain decisions, however, when we share values, they can bring like purpose to a group or a community. For example, what values do we think, let's just use the example of the Euros, because it's big right now, what values do we think the Wales team had in order to reach their goal?
Trustworthy. You have to have the trust that they can pass the ball and know that it'll get to the other player.
Yeah, perfect. You have to be able to trust that if you pass that ball, a member of your team is going to pick it up. James?
Passion. To work hard at the game and enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah, so to enjoy the game, you need that passion for the game. Would you need the passion for your country as well?
Yeah.
Fairness, so it's a team effort rather than an individual effort for trying to win.
Yeah, perfect. So we're not just relying on one player, we're relying on all 11 players.
Loyal. I think you've got to be loyal to your team and your country, because if you really don't care about being there, then there's no point in you going at all.
Exactly, and that links to what James said then about that passion as well. What values do we share as a school then? What is our school motto? Those 3 words, believe, Tom?
Believe, achieve, succeed.
Believe, achieve, succeed, perfect. And what values then, Jeremiah, do we need as a school to all together believe, achieve and succeed?
I think we need to be open-minded to learn new things, and we need to have free speech so we can have opinions on things and learn things about other cultures and races.
Perfect. Well done. Yeah, exactly. We need to be open-minded and we need to be able to have free speech because we need to say our opinions and learn about other people's opinions as well. Does anyone have any others?
As a school, we should be accepting because people are not going to feel comfortable coming to our school if they feel like they won't be accepted or they're not going to be able to fit in with the other students or teachers.
Perfect, yeah, exactly. When we have Year 7s coming up in September, we all need to be sort of accepting of them. They're brand new, we need to make them feel safe. Callum, what were you going to say?
Tolerant of others, because obviously you can be around them for quite a lot of years and sort of spend a lot of time with them, so you've got to sort of learn to sort of get along with people and be more tolerant of others.
Yeah, exactly. We just need to be more tolerant and respectful of others. Tom, have you gone?
Free speech. I feel like students should be able to comment on where the school's going wrong and things like that.
Yeah, so we need to have that element of pupil voice. We need to be able to know how pupils think the school could improve. It is not just a teacher's decision. We need to involve you in that as well. Well done. These 4 things, so democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty and mutual respect, are what the UK government define as its British values. So we're going to go through each of them individually now to see what we think they are. So firstly, what do we think is meant by democracy?
The ability to vote to make decisions within your country, or to feel like you have some power over change.
Perfect. So the right to have your say. Can you make these notes on your sheet for me? And if everyone has their say then, and everyone has the right to vote, etc., how is that treating people if everyone can do it? Evie?
It's equality.
Perfect.
Because, like, no matter, well, of course, age, you can't vote until a certain age. The minute you hit that age, no matter what gender or colour or anything, you can vote, you can have a say on what you want, like, our community or our place to be like.
Perfect. So we all get this say on how we want the country to be run, and then also we have sort of how we want Wales to be run, as well as our community as well. We have different votes for everything. What then would we say is the rule of law?
Actually, it sort of links to democracy in the way of, so you vote for various laws that could be implemented, and then you follow those laws.
Perfect.
Or everyone has to follow them, or else you go to jail or whatever.
Amazing. So these two are linked. And this is just how everyone sort of follows the law. And if everyone follows the law, how does that make people feel in society if everyone is following these laws? Tom?
Safe.
Perfect. What about individual liberty then? What do we think is meant by this? Grace?
No one can be a slave or like anything like that. You yourself are free.
Yeah, we could say that everyone is free, but free to do what, do we say?
Free to sort of like explore your rights.
Yes. So we could say free to explore rights. Does anyone have any other ideas on how else we could show this freedom? Callum?
Well, free speech.
Perfect. So things like free speech. You could have like freedom of expression, the way you want to express yourselves. And then finally then, what do we think? Mutual respect and tolerance for those with different faiths and beliefs.
You just need to accept that there's gonna be people from all over the world and with different backgrounds and races, etc. Like, people are going to be different to you, and you just can't let that decide what you think about someone.
Perfect. So it's understanding that people are different and have different views. And then, as you said, it is respecting these differences and being aware of these differences in society. Okay, so once you have written that, I want you to have this worksheet in front of you. This one. In the middle of this worksheet are qualities that we think are desirable. So they're the ones we talked about previously on slide 5 about the qualities you thought are desirable, and you rank them as to which ones you thought were the most important. So above the line are those qualities. Now, below the line are these values we've just talked about. They're the British values, what the government defines as British values. So what I would like you to do now, I want you to see how these values above the line fit into the British values. So for example, friendly. Where do we think friendly would go out of these 4? Evie?
Mutual respect.
Mutual respect, why?
Because if you're understanding everyone, then you're generally kind to them. You're not, like, if you don't understand them, then people can usually come off as mean and kind of standoffish, where if you understand them and you accept them, then you're kind to them because you treat them how you want to be treated.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So that is what I want you to do with those values above the line. All you have to write next to it is you could either write number 3, we could label those, or 4 even, we could label those values, or you could just write mutual respect next to them. But I'm going to give you, let's say, 8 minutes now to have that discussion.
Well, yeah, because if you follow the law, then you know you can trust them to not attack you out of nowhere because it would be against the law.
Yeah.
I thought it was unbiased.
Oh, I thought 8 was mine. Oh no, I had to see. I don't have my number yet.
Well, it would also fit into the rule of law, because you're kind of you're putting that trust into anyone of the public to not cross that boundary of, just your respect.
Like breaking the law and making people feel unsafe. Perfect, yeah, so it's fairness. Perfect. Could it be in anything else? It can be in more than one, couldn't it?
What is compassionate? Just individual liberty. Could we put it into the rule of law, do you think?
Yeah.
How?
Because, if you're compassionate, you're not going to be breaking the law and, stealing from people.
Yeah.
So, we'll do a quick feedback on this one then. So we did friendly. So where would people put trustworthy? Where would people say trustworthy fits in to the British values? Grace?
The rule of law.
Why?
And you set the rules, you're trusting people to like not break them.
So you would expect people to not break these laws. You would trust people trust people to follow these laws. What about loyal?
If you're sort of loyal, it means you're more likely to sort of follow the law. I don't really know.
Yeah, so you're more likely to follow the law and be sort of loyal to those laws, you could argue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, what about compassionate? Where would we put compassionate, Evie?
You could put compassionate in individual liberty and rule of law.
Why could you put it in individual liberty?
Individual liberty, because it's like, because you're free to explore your rights, because you're compassionate about it, you'll want to know more, you want to know what you can do and what you can't do. And then for, with the rule of law, if you're compassionate, you're not going to break the law, you care, you want it, the law is what you stick to, you won't go against it.
Perfect. What I would like you to do now, I want you to write a paragraph. Doesn't have to be very long. I want you to write down why you think the British government chose these 4 values that we looked at in its definition of British values. You've got, let's say, 5 minutes. Off you go. A minute a line. You guys can do that. So, Charlie, why do you think the British government chose these 4 values in this term, British values?
I think the government chose these values because if everyone follows them, it just means everyone's respectful, tolerant and compassionate towards each other, meaning being around these people is just generally nicer and it makes everyone feel safe if people follow the rule of law and stuff.
Yeah, perfect. So
people can feel accepted in the people they're around.
Perfect. So we had those desirable values that you've just looked at, such as things like accepting and kind, and you've said why then you think those should be, they are in those 4 British values. Well done. Sol, what about you?
I think the government chose the values of democracy and individual liberty and moral respect and tolerance, because if we all follow these rules, we should all get along. It makes everyone feel safe about the law.
Yeah, so it makes people safe, and as we said, more tolerant. Perfect, well done, Sol. I am going to give you a little pack with these 6 articles in, and they are the United Nations rights of the child. So they are human rights all children should have, including yourselves. And what I would like you to do is in your 3s, and you boys will be a 2, you will need to go around the room and stick these under whatever British value you think it comes under either democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, or mutual respect.
It would put democracy, wouldn't it, for equality? Individual liberty. It's free to explore rights and
Great, have we done all of ours, have we? Can someone tell me where they put Article 12? So you have the right to give your opinion and for adults to listen and take it seriously. Where do we think that fit, Lucy?
I put in democracy. Democracy is about having the right for your say and equality.
Yeah, so it's all about having your right to an opinion, how things are run, etc. Do you think we could link that to pupil voice in school?
Yeah, because we should be able to tell what's going wrong if we're getting distracted in lessons and things.
Yeah, perfect. You should be able to feel comfortable telling teachers or members of staff how you think the school could improve, or in ways maybe you think the school are doing really well. Okay, what about Article 19? You have the right to be protected from being hurt and mistreated in body or mind.
We said it was the rule of law, because it's kind of obviously if they do that, it's assault, isn't it? And that's against the law. So we put it in that one.
Yeah, and as we said that the rule of law was all about feeling protected in society and safe. Article 2, all children have rights no matter who they are, where they live, what their parents do, or what language they speak. Where would we put Article 2? Erin.
I put it in mutual respect and tolerance for those with different faiths and beliefs, because like it said, no matter what their background is, etc., they should be respected and treated equally.
Perfect. Could we argue it fits into 2, do you think?
I don't know.
You're not sure? Can anyone help her out? Evie.
We put it in democracy because, like, for democracy, it's equality, and that talks about, like, no matter like who you are or your background, no child should be treated unfairly.
Yeah, perfect. So you could put it in mutual respect, exactly like Erin said, and you could also put it in democracy because it is a human right. And as we said, democracy was about being treated equally and having your right to speech or to vote, etc. What we are going to do now is we are going to do these thoughts and crosses, and we're completing 3 boxes in a row. So I've decided we're going to do one of the easier ones, one of the middle ones, and one of these ones. We're going to go diagonally. So firstly then, why do we need values? Go on, Evie.
To make us a basic functioning member of society.
What do you mean by like, a basic member of society?
So like, these values is what helps us to move along in like the community. So if we didn't have these values, everything would kind of go to a standstill and nothing would progress.
Yeah, perfect. And then next, Jerry. In what way can shared values help our communities and regional governments?
They can help the community like progress, and their children would kind of grow up and respect other people as they go on with their lives.
Yeah, perfect. It would make people respect others and we'd be more tolerant. Well done. And then finally, what would our country be a more cohesive, so a place where people get along together, if we all believed in British values? Grace.
Well, I think it would be more cohesive and like everyone would get like along a lot more. But the thing is, I don't think that's ever really going to happen because there's always going to be like some people who like don't abide by the law or like just don't treat people with mutual respect.
How would you deal with people who didn't follow British values?
Well, like obviously, if they don't follow the law, they go to prison. But I think for democracy, if for example, I don't know, they were like a politician and they didn't allow members of their party to put forward their views, I don't think they should be allowed to be involved in the process of democracy. Like they could be excluded from all votes and things like that.
I want you to have a discussion now, all together in your groups. How would you encourage these values in society?
Of course, like us being taught it in class right now, obviously teaches us what to do and what not to do.
Do you think mutual respect is something that just happens in lessons?
No, probably outside of school or straight at break and lunch, whatever.
Yes, we could encourage it at break and lunch as well. Right?
If you teach a child to be respectful, it gets rid of like a certain unrespectfulness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
So like if you keep passing on the chain, then like the world's not going to be a best place.
Also, with like democracy, like you don't let to teach people how to be democratic. I don't know. You don't let them decide everything. You have to show that other people have to input their opinions.
Yeah. So well done for today, guys, and then that concludes today's lesson.